So Tachi is representing the PBC, and he's going to make a presentation. Can we give him a hand? Yeah.
Thank you, George. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters in Christ. My name is Tachi. I'm in part of the building committee and nominated to kind of give you a presentation of some of the thinking and the rationale that has gone into the proposed plan. First, I think Father Brian have already kind of helped us recall for us the mission of the church and what we aim to achieve in the church. And so as we look at the renovation plans, it is very easy and natural sometimes for us to very quickly bring on the commercial training and thinking that we have and look for a return on investment for the money that we're going to spend. It's very easy for us. It's almost natural. But if you think about it, God and church never really asks us to make any monetary return on investments. The return on investment that God and church is looking for are more souls won into his family. That's the return on investment. The return on investment that he's looking for is, as Father Joe always preaches in his homilies, those Catholics that have kind of not come home, bring them home. That's the return on investment. The youth that we baptize every year, if we can make them stay, if we can make them participate in the life of the church, that is an investment, return on investment. And obviously, we should also be reaching out to our separated brethren, bringing them back into to home. That will also be a return on investment. So let us keep that spirit alive and think about that when we look at these renovation proposals. The parish building committee is obviously made up and led by the three priests who have guided us, who have guided the people who sort of took the input and made the proposals. The members are Alfred Goh. He's the chairman of the parish building committee. Theodore Chan cannot be here because he's been called for another mission by Monsignor Philip Heng, so he can't be here. But Mark Tay is here. Mark also representing the finance committee. Paul Regan is also here. Fabian, where are you? There you are, Fabian. Anita and Jeffrey De Silva, and of course myself. And I'm going to be, and Father Brian asked me to be the chief beggar for the next 2 years to try and raise funds. All right. So what do we hope? What are the considerations that the committee have put in place to try and think about how do you put this package of stuff together? I think the first thing that we think about is to reduce the barriers. Reduce the barriers to movement around the church, particularly people who are less mobile, people in wheelchairs, young families with babies in prams, trying to negotiate and navigate around the church through all the many different level changes here is quite a challenge for some of these people. So we want to reduce that barrier, and we also want to expand and improve the facilities that we have, so that we can create really or recreate, if you like, a more modern, a more welcoming, a more inviting church that people can stay, that people want to come and be with church. And obviously, for those people who are very involved in ministry activities, for those people who come here very often for anything other than Mass, you find that some facilities are really, really in a bad state of repair. I mean, even if you see the screens here, they're not very good. And roof leaks, you go to the priest quarters, you find mushrooms growing there because it's constantly leaking. And why do you think our priests always cough? Because I think there's fungus in their room growing from the leaks. And so we need to get that all cleaned up and improve and repair the church that is badly in need of repair. And obviously with all that, we will improve safety as well. So here are the key things that we are renovating in the church today. All right. So we start at the front gate here. We're going to make some changes there, and we're going to expand the porch area here to increase the flow of traffic, give some shelter as well. We're going to do some improvements in the main church hall. so that we get a better environment, better lighting and air conditioning as well. There will be some changes in the basement right under the church. We're going to do some changes to that and to change of use as well. And the plaza is the important part in all our consideration, because the plaza seems like the heart of activities in the church. And that is one area we feel is very important for us to really improve and make full use of it. There will be a lot of changes in the parsonage. The parsonage, for those who are not familiar, is where you're sitting here right now. This is the parsonage. We're making quite a few changes to all the 4 levels that are here. And also finally, at the parish center where the kindergarten is, we're going to build a new parish hall. We're going to propose to build a new parish hall. Now we're going to relocate the grotto as well, and I'll give you the rationale later on why we want to do that. But these are the main things that we are planning to kind of change, improve, and expand in the church. So let's start with the church entrance. And you see this diagram very often through the slide, so I want to orientate you to it. This is the entrance to the church, all right, where you drive your car, and this is where it leads out to the convent over there. So this is the main church. This is the main church hall. This is the parsonage building where we are right now. And this is the parish center where the kindergarten is. So those are the 3 key areas. Of course, you know the grotto is here, and then the plaza is in this area here. So I just want you to orientate yourself to this diagram so that when I talk about the different places, you know where we are and roughly, because sometimes it's difficult to kind of picture and visualize where exactly you are in the whole building. Right, so the church entrance. Why are we doing the church entrance? Because we want to actually shout out, if you like, our Catholic identity. We want to have an entrance where people who walk by, who drive by will know, there are the people of God. There's the Catholic Church. And that is where people come to worship, all right? And we're gonna brighten it up, make it look nicer. But on top of that, we're also gonna put cobblestones on the floor so that when cars come by, they will feel that rumble on the wheels and therefore slow down and kind of increase and improve safety there. But this is the artist's impression, rendition. But if you look at it, it will give us a better identity and show people that this is the true Church of God. All right. Next, on the front porch area, the yellow dot that you see over here. All right. We are going to number 1, expand the staircase over here, right? So that we can improve the traffic flow. 3 cars can go through there and let people get out of their cars at the same time, so that you can have more flow of people. You will notice that there is a expanded, it's not very clear here, but the shelter is going to be extended, so that when you get off the car, you are sheltered away from rain. That is something that we will do. We are building a new ramp here, so that in fair weather, people with prams, people with wheelchairs can use that on top of the existing ramp on this side, where the bell tower is. All right, you can have people coming up from the ramp if they do need to use the ramp. Now, these 2 ramps are not covered. It's not meant for wet weather use for them, but at least it gives you more volume of people, and it reduces the risk that is associated with that tight corner around the bell tower. All right. So if you look at it in totality, what does it give you? You get a more volume of cars going through. You have this little area here on the left and the right, which becomes more like a podium where people coming out of church after Mass can actually mingle and kind of fellowship a little bit more while they wait for their transport to arrive. And then you have a ramp that goes up here and a ramp here. But on top of that, for wet weather use, there will be a sheltered area here and here. On the right-hand side, this one is where at the moment the grotto is. The shelter will be extended so that people can come out of their cars in their wheelchairs with their prams in a sheltered environment, even if it rains. So you'll be sheltered. Over here, we will be extending the roof, and I'll show you that roof afterwards, so that again, when the Cheshire Home people get back into their van and other people use that the wheelchair area, they don't have to be in the rain to get into the van, and that I think would help as well. All right, and thirdly, it's not shown here, but because we are building a linkway here, you can also disembark from your car in the basement, come up via the lift, which is on that side, come up via the lift, and still come out and walk through the church in a sheltered area, all sheltered all the way to church. And that I think will help all our parishioners get to church without getting wet as well. So after that, the next thing is the main church. That's our church. What are we going to do with the church? The feedback that we have, there are many times when on a really hot day, the church sitting at the back can be rather warm. And the aircon system is about 19 years old. Parts are difficult to get, and it's kind of not very efficient. So we're going to change the aircon. But more importantly, we are also going to refurbish the pews. A lot of you sitting at the back, particularly, you find that the pews are kind of falling apart, and we need to really refurbish it. So that's something we're going to do. And in the area of lights, we're going to neaten up the lights, make it more, I guess, brighter, a little bit brighter, create a better environment for us to be able to be solemn in our prayer, be solemn at Mass. And the last thing is also, for those who remember, there is a water feature in the front of the church where the altar is, behind the altar. It is leaking, it's hard to maintain. That's something that we're going to kind of remove and replace it with a cladding so that we can decorate the church in a much easier way. So mainly in the main church, that's the kind of stuff that we're doing so that we can improve the ambience, improve the environment, and allow us to have a more solemn environment to worship our God. All right. So then we come to the plaza, which is the area that is between the main church and this parsonage house. And this is the area of the plaza. Now it is very important because, as I say, the plaza is almost the center of activity in the church. All right. So what we want to do, and I'll show you this first. All right. The current plaza, as you can see here, when you are standing in a plaza, if you count, there are actually 5 levels of changes, 5 level changes in the plaza. So you have to come down the stairs and up the stairs to get to the toilet. If you want to do that, you have to come down the stairs and go to the canteen. You have to come down the stairs, up the stairs, and to get to the office. And it is really, really very difficult to navigate if you are not very mobile, right? So what we intend to do is actually to level this area here, all right, level this area here, so that we can get a level plaza in which that is linked to the main church, that is linked to the parsonage, that is linked to the parish center as well, so that people can flow very smoothly from the main church through the linkways, through the plaza, into all the buildings. And you don't have to climb too many steps. This morning, as I was standing by the model downstairs, I was watching an elderly man trying to use the 2 bars to walk up the staircase to just get to the toilet. I mean, it was a very difficult thing for him. I can see that he was struggling. And if we level the plaza now, we can actually allow these people to quickly and easily and effectively use the entire facility that we have. So what we will also be, as you can see up here, we will also be raising the cover or the ceiling that you have right now in the plaza downstairs a lot higher, so that you get more ventilation, you get more light, and also extend it so that when you see this area here, all right, this is the roof, the new roof. That area will extend out to where the fire engine stand is, next to the sacristy, and you will be able to disembark and get on into the car without getting wet. And that also is a wheelchair access as well. All right. So the plaza becomes an area, a focus area, a level focus area, accessible to all our parishioners in the church. So then, once you've done that plaza, you find that because the plaza is kind of leading into the basement where our canteen today is. The question is, what do we do with the canteen? Now, for those people who have been involved in providing canteen services on a Sunday, many people will come up to me and say, "Hey guys, you got to do something about the canteen. It's dark, it's dingy, it's low ceiling, it's very claustrophobic. It's a dungeon. I call it a dungeon, but there's no windows there, and they want to see some improvement in it." So if you look at the basement, by having that plaza, it gives us an opportunity to relook at what to do with this basement area. The committee actually looked at moving the parish office into this space because it actually has a lot of space. But to move the parish office into this space, move the priest into this space so that they can be close to the parishioners, but use that space. But then when we sit down and think about it, we felt that it was really unfair to put our 3 shepherds or more shepherds into the dungeon where they spend most of their time without natural light, without easy access even to a toilet, because there's no toilet there, right? And it's actually quite unfair. And then we think about that, and we see that the adoration room today, if you are a wheelchair user, it is very difficult, if not impossible, for you to get close to God and spend time with God. So once you free up this space here, you have the ability to expand the adoration room, and the adoration room is here now, and you can see the expansion here and the vestibule here, and now you can actually come down the ramp down here and enter the adoration room from the inside, and therefore wheelchair users now can come into the adoration room and spend time with the Lord. All right. And opening up that space allows us also to build and restore the library that we actually have. A lot of people do not actually know that we have a library, but it sits right now where the kindergarten is, and nobody goes there because you don't know that it is there. By bringing it back into near the plaza area, more people can actually have access to the library. And secondly, we also are able to create a new bookstore so that we can have our bookstore back. And be able to spread the word through the books and things that we sell. But it also gives us an opportunity to create new meeting rooms, new ministry meeting rooms, new cupboards that the ministry needs, new storerooms that allow us to store the paraphernalia that we use today. So we decided that instead of kind of chucking our shepherds into a dungeon and keeping them there, we use this space to open up the adoration room, allow wheelchair users access, and also give us more meeting rooms and give us a library that we can use and a bookshop that we can enjoy. So once we decided that we move create that space in the basement, what do you do with the canteen? All right. Now, having the plaza already being leveled over here in this place, you find that now you can move, the parishioners can move from church down the ramp and without too many changes in level into the parsonage area here. And therefore, it is a great place for right downstairs here in the first level for us to have a canteen there where there will be light coming up from the 2 side windows, the windows on the side. And then we can have a bigger space that flows out into the plaza. So you now have a true canteen that you can have functions and have greater fellowship after mass and flow out into the plaza so that we all can spend some time together into an area where we can fellowship. We have food and our young people who would like and very much like to get married and have their wedding here can have their reception in a really nice environment, and then hopefully bring more people to church as well. And the community hall that we have, if you look at this diagram over here, it will be a space that you can configure. All right, just to orientate you, this is right downstairs. This place here is downstairs here. All right. Most of the time when you need to go to the toilet today, you walk down this corridor and the toilets are here. The male toilets are here and the female toilets are here. Those are kept. All right. but we will reconfigure the space here and the space here so that we can have a proper canteen. We will also be building a kitchen here so that we can actually prepare food in a sanitary and nice manner. A lot of us may not be aware of it, but today's canteen actually does not comply with regulations for sanitary regulations and even fire regulations as well. So we now will have a space here to put a community hall or a canteen, and you can use this in very many different ways, right? So the committee kind of after thinking about what to do with the basement, move the canteen over here downstairs. Then the next problem is, what do you do with the existing offices that are downstairs? Now you don't have a space for offices, and the priest's office are there. What do you do with it? And still staying at the parish center, what do you do with the parish office? So we looked at moving the office up here, okay? But there's also an option. The option is also to move all the priests and the parish office to the third floor upstairs on the kindergarten building, the parish center. I always struggle with that. Parish center where the kindergarten is. We can move it there because you can build. Father John Sim, in his far-sighted vision when he first built this church premises, he had built enough a strong enough foundation and column strength to be able to have a third floor on the at the parish center. And that's why you find that the lift and the parish center actually goes up to the roof. That's because it's all ready to accommodate another floor. Now the committee actually looked at, shall we move the office over there? But we felt that moving the priest's office and the staff office all the way to the other side actually moves them away from the heart of the church. And the heart of the church is where people gather, people mingle around, and they need to be around and they need to be accessible. All right. We can't put them in the basement, as I mentioned just now, but if you put it over to the kindergarten building, they are too far away. They are away from the flock that they need to shepherd. And that's why we say we rule that out, even though that was an option for us, right? And we said the next best option is to move the office up to this level here, right now, right here where you are sitting today. And so in doing so, because of the available space, we are able to lay it out in a more, I would say, a more functional, a more effective manner, such that the priests have a dignified office. The staff also have areas to work. More importantly, we have two other things we will be able to do over here, and that is to have a secured counting room. A lot of us are not involved in this. I only learned this a while ago. But when they all make the collection at the end of Mass, somebody has to count it. And somebody has to make sure that it is securely counted and then handed over and locked up in a safe. And we need to have that secure place. And with this space, we can actually put that in place. Secondly, the important thing is that today, if anybody needs counseling or meeting the priest in a private manner, there's no way downstairs that you can wait and you can, hang around to wait for your meeting time. There's no confidentiality, there's no privacy. And by having the office up here, there's also a way to control and manage that privacy and confidentiality so that people will be more open to meeting the priest and to coming for, to kind of have counseling sessions if they do need to. So this area here helps us to be able to achieve that. And also it gives us a really better reception of people who come and visit the church. All right. So once you put the office up here, what do you do with the hall? We actually considered maybe we don't need a hall. But then, when we looked at all the activities that we have that takes place in this hall on a weekly, daily basis, we do need to have this hall because there are a lot of activities that go on. And so the best and most optimal solution for us is to actually make use of the provisions that Father John Sim had put in this building to have a third floor upstairs, and the structure can do that, and it's been checked out, and therefore build upon the investment that has already been made a long time ago, and build this a new parish hall here, and it will become a hall that is column free, a hall that has a higher ceiling, so that when you sit down there and you listen to Monsignor Vaz give his lectures on the Bible, it is actually a hall that is conducive to that. When we have catechetical ministry activities, when you have charismatic meetings, it is more conducive for using that area. And you find that I'll give you the plan view here. This is the new parish hall here, all right? By putting it up on the roof there, at the current roof, you also allow us to have a breakout space, so that when you have those activities that up there, you can flow out and have breakout sessions with food service, and maybe contemplate and maybe have discussions over there. And this morning when I was standing downstairs talking about the model, a parishioner came to me and said, we need to give youth some space so that they can, huddle and have quiet discussion with each other, so that they can fellowship. And this space is perfect for that, because you're going to be seeing the stars. You have a gazebo there, so you can stay there. And I told him that perhaps one thing that the priest will be worried about is if it gets too quiet, what are the youth going to do? So this is a space that we can use. Once you have the activity in the hall, you can flow out, you can have a food service, and you can discuss as well. We will be also using this space for the children's playground, so that it can be up there in a safe area. And why are we moving the playground up there as well? Because if you look at the next thing that we do, let me give you the views of the breakout space and the playground. You can see the breakout space, and this view of the breakout space is taken from somewhere here in this direction here. If you look at this direction, you will see this area. So you see there's a toilet up there, there's a breakout space, places for you to sit so that you can have discussion, and a playground here which is located in this place. All right. So, and the parish hall, of course, a hall is a hall. By moving the playground up to the third floor, we have an opportunity to kind of free up the car park area here and move the grotto into an area that perhaps may be more conducive for meditation, for prayer, and spending time with our mother. And it is going to be away from vehicular traffic, reduces the risk of children, running around in the car park, and it gives us minimum vehicle noise and lights and disturbance, so that we can have a contemplative time. And at the same time, it actually frees up the car park space, and so that when we have the fiesta the next time, we have a big open area to kind of create more activities as well. I'm coming to an end, coming to the end of the presentation, not that I'm ending, but the priest quarters today, as we mentioned, it's leaking, it's not very well organized. We want to refresh it, we want to kind of fix the leaks, so that the priests can have a comfortable, dignified quarters. But on top of that, we're also going to create an extra room, so that when we have a visiting priest, they can have accommodation there as well. Last, but this is the layout of the priest quarters, and you can see the extra guest room here that we created. We give them a nice, dignified dining area with a small laundry area here as well. All right. Last but not least, the columbarium in the basement in this building. What we want to do is really kind of create more natural light into the columbarium, give more greenery in there, refresh the area, so that it becomes a little bit more meditative for people to spend time with their loved ones there as well. Yeah. So not much to be done in the columbarium except improving it, opening up to natural light, and kind of reinstating the original design objectives of the columbarium. So the timeline, as you've seen downstairs in the panels, if there are no delays, we hope to finish the renovation by December 2019, in time to celebrate our 60th anniversary of SFX. Okay, and that is our intent. Now, everything needs money. We currently estimate the cost of the renovations today at 6.8 million. We haven't gone out to tender, so we don't know what the exact cost is, until those things come in, you really can only do an estimate. Now we have 4.5 million that we can spend from our reserves. That's what the finance committee have kind of approved for that. So we need to raise about 2.3 million in extra funds to fund this 6.8 million renovation. To a lot of us, 2.3 million may sound like a lot of money, but it's maybe not many of us know this, but there are 4,400 parishioners in SFX, and many more besides who are not registered but come regularly for activities. If each of us, if each of these us just contribute 75 cents a day, $5 a week, we will make that number. We will make that number. So it's doable. All right. I know that there will be people who will struggle with it, and I think that's fair and that's natural. But there will also be people who can probably contribute a lot more than that. And so I think 2.3 million is an imminently achievable number from a big parish like this. Okay. So if we do all that, if the parishioners sort of support that, then it will really go a long way to build that vibrant missionary and evangelistical church that we have. And then perhaps we can, as we sung today, early on today, we can then join our voices to say that all that we have today is given us from God. What we are doing now is just giving it back to Him so that He can use it and grow our church and bring more people into His family.